up, YouTube? It is Truth TV and Z here. I'm going to be recording a video today about what the real purpose of NASA has been. I know it's been quite a while. I've been very consistent with uploading. I do want to make more videos now. I was going to record some other videos, but I've been having problems with editing software on my computer. I'm having a lot of issues with my computer, so I haven't been able to upload the videos I want to upload. Once I figure it out, I will upload the kind of videos I want to upload. Now, today the video I want to talk about is what the purpose of NASA is. If anyone who doesn't know, I'm somebody who believes moon landing was faked. I also believe that most of what NASA says about space is fake. For a long time, I used to believe the Earth was flat, and I still think it's possible that the Earth is flat. Now, do I think that space exists? Yes, I do, but I think that NASA has mostly lied about space. I think they're mostly saying a bunch of nonsense about space. If you look it up, NASA was founded by somebody from Hitler's Germany, from Nazi Germany, called Werner von Braun. And if I remember correctly, he was in league with Walt Disney, Aleister Crowley, and Jack Parsons, who was following the religion that Aleister Crowley founded. There's a lot to it. It's like NASA means it's in Hebrew, etc. But I don't really have time to explain what this means. So I'm just going to give a quick backdrop to this video to kind of explain this for anyone who doesn't understand. So basically, what's going on is that NASA is making up a lot of lies about space. They're basically lying to us. They're trying to teach us Darwinism philosophy. They're saying life is meaningless when life isn't. They're trying to promote atheism, dogmatism, trying to dumb down the population using science, which is super ironic because to be a scientist, you have to be kind of smart to just make new discoveries and to invent stuff. In the truth community, which I'm a part of, there's a lot of people who think that space is fake, doesn't exist. NASA is basically showing fake stuff. If you look into it, the guy who made the picture of the Earth, he said that it's actually fake. The guy who made the whole image of globe Earth, he literally admitted it was fake. A lot of the images we see of space, they actually edited in Photoshop with CGI. Most of the things we see about space are kind of fake. In Algeria, that's actually where the pictures of Mars were filmed. Most of the pictures were kind of filmed in fake places. And a lot of the things about space are very implausible. For example, it's how could they figure out that a black hole exists when it's apparently millions and billions of miles away? But somehow they know exactly what a black hole is, exactly how it works, what it looks like. There's a planet billions, millions, and trillions of miles away that has a core full of diamonds, but it's how the fuck do you figure that out if you haven't been there, you haven't went to the center of a planet, and you haven't even analyzed if it's a diamond? How do we know it's not some kind of metal or ore or crystal that's made out of a completely foreign material that we don't even know about? How do we know it's not made out of fucking kryptonite? So most of what NASA says doesn't make sense. Most of what they're saying is kind of a lie. And most of the stuff they're filming is fake. Now, do I think it's possible that space exists? Yeah, I think it's possible that space could exist because to me it's just because you're lying about what's in space doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Just because lie about what's in the ocean doesn't mean the ocean doesn't exist. With that said, I am open to the Earth being flat. I've seen evidence that the Earth could be flat. When you go to a really high mountain, a really high peak, you can see stuff really, really far away that you shouldn't be able to see from that far away because the Earth's curve apparently makes it so you can't see it. For example, I used to live in some part of the North Island in New Zealand, and I used to be able to see the South Island from that place, even though it's logically impossible to be able to see the South Island. If you go to Wellington, you go to the beach in Wellington, you can see the South Island, even though it's apparently a really long way away. In a nutshell, NASA's lying about stuff. But in the truth community, most people think that everything NASA does is basically just a giant production company like Hollywood. So basically, all the work that these astronauts and these people who study to become astronauts and the work in NASA is doing is basically just a bunch of theatrics. Well, that's the thing. It's when I first figured out that space, they're lying about space, and that NASA's fake and all that kind of stuff, there's always one question that loomed on my mind. The question that loomed on my mind was, if NASA's just making up all this stuff and the moon landing was directed by Stanley Kubrick and they're just lying about space and most of the people work at NASA who make images of the Earth and the globe and stars, star systems and all that kind of stuff, they're just basically faking it, using CGI and all that kind of stuff, then what is NASA like actually doing behind the scenes? Like, what are they actually doing? Because if you logically think about it, it doesn't really make sense that NASA would just like fake it all. Like, what I mean by that is it doesn't make sense that there will be all these engineers, scientists, soldiers who would spend all these like years and months of your life studying to become astronauts, learning mathematics, science, engineering skills, being trained how to survive in zero gravity environments, being trained to do all these like different things that are extremely complex, take a lot of effort, take a lot of time, take a lot of like intelligence and academic knowledge just to basically do nothing. Like, that doesn't really make sense, right? I always surmise that NASA might actually have like a real purpose, a government operation, like a real practical purpose aside from deceiving the population into believing in Darwinism and like occultism, and basically everything the Illuminati wants to teach people. What we're going to be unveiling like today is what is NASA's real purpose? Like, what are they actually trying to accomplish when they like all these astronauts, these engineers, and these scientists, and these soldiers, and these other kinds of people to like go and do the things that they're doing. So basically, what is NASA's purpose? I've written down a few reasons, and I will list them right now. Let's go through the reasons. The first like possible purpose of NASA is to actually colonize and explore space behind our backs. Like basically like space actually exists, but they're like not being honest about what they're actually doing in space. Like the next reason is to go into the sea or to another part of the earth, like going underground or another part of flat earth or something like that. The next possible reason is like they're doing military contracts, like secret kind of government projects behind the scenes, and to like make a satellite network and to like use chemtrails for like Project Blue Beam. Something that ties into that is the fake alien invasion, and like another possible reason is reconstructing ancient Hindu technology. I will get into the next part of the video. To go into the first possible reason why NASA actually exists, it's to colonize space / explore space behind our backs. So basically what I think is going on is that space is being like colonized and kind of explored, completely pretending they're doing one thing, but they're doing another thing. For example, let's say the military, they say the reason they go into Iraq is because of oils, weapons of mass destruction, stuff like that, terrorists, whatever, but the real reason they're going is to like find Nephilim bones or to find like ancient technology or something like that. It's like often when our governments they say they're going to do one thing for one reason, but they're actually doing it for another reason. That's kind of their modus operandi, like the mode of operation. Well, if the U.S. military want to do that in Iraq, then they might be willing to do that in space. Like let's say like NASA, they say, oh, we're going to space to like, to observe some things. Well, how do we know they're not going to space to find, like, I don't know, alien technology or some kind of stuff like that? I know this sounds kind of crazy, but I kind of think it's possible to actually go into space, but, like, they're not being honest about what's actually in space. Like, for example, I think one example of what they're actually doing is, like, there's, like, alien pyramids that have been found on what is Mars. There's been, like, a face that was found on Mars. So I think it's possible that maybe they've, like, went to Mars. Like, they actually, like, that's the real reason, like, why they're trying to go to Mars is so they can, like, looking at this alien like find whatever's in these pyramids. There's like other thing called Planet Nibiru, which is like in like the edge of the solar system. It's kind of like a big like planet or something. Apparently coming our way to end the world or whatever. Well, maybe that's like the real reason why they're actually in space is for Nibiru. Like I saw this prophetic dreamer saying that NASA has like these like nukes or weapons in space to try to destroy Nibiru. So I think there's a possible reason why NASA actually exists. I don't really have much more to say about this, so we're going to go to the next part of the video. To go on to the next part of the video, one of the other possible purposes of NASA is that NASA could have been founded to go into the sea, or to go to another part of the Earth / part of the Earth that is hidden. Now, to start off this part of the video, I want to tell you a fact that is undeniable and has actually been officially approved by science. We have explored more of space than we've explored of under the ocean. So most of the things we've seen under the ocean, all those different things like we've seen under the ocean, such as like the Mariana Trench, anglerfish, whales, sharks, crabs, all these predators we've seen in the bottom of the ocean, they are hardly anything. They are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what's in the ocean. There's so many different things that we haven't like found in the ocean, yet we've apparently explored space more than that. So I'm kind of thinking, what if was actually exploring under the sea instead of in space? Now, I know this rumination may not be enough proof for some people, but the proof that I actually have that NASA might be going under the sea is the fact that when these astronauts train for like being like astronauts, when they like go and do their spacewalks in zero gravity, or when they like float around in space and all that stuff, they actually train for that by going underwater in pools, in astronaut suits, in like, spaceships and all that kind of stuff. And if you kind of think about it, right, even though space is supposed to be like the sea and stuff. By the way, that's kind of like, it's kind of interesting that space is kind of like sea, when in the Bible it says that the water, that what's above the firmament, is that the waters above the firmament are only separated by like a dome and stuff to separate the waters below and the waters above. So I kind of think that NASA, when they kind of came up with the idea of space being water, they probably took that from the Bible. Like, anyway, it's kind of like when people are like underwater, it's kind of like space. But I'm thinking, what if they're just training to be underwater? But this is kind of like the demo, the trial. If you're like training to be a marathon swimmer, like you swim across the sea or you swim across like the English Strait or something, they're actually people that like swim like miles and miles and miles in the ocean. They probably wouldn't like start swimming in the ocean. They probably just go to the swimming pool. So, or like if you wanted to climb a mountain, you want to like do rock climbing first, right? Well, that's what NASA probably does. If I'm right about this, they probably do that. They probably like train underwater and all. And I kind of think that like that's what they're actually doing. Now, the other pieces of evidence that I have is the fact that there's actually been an astronaut who's actually been to the bottom of the ocean apparently. Also, all of like the rockets that get launched into space apparently, they all end up and stuff in the water. Now, the first one, this is an astronaut called Chris Hadfield, who is a Canadian astronaut, who is officially an astronaut. He's an astronaut, apparently he's been to space. Well, he recorded a video of him at the bottom of the ocean opening a can of Coke in like a really gravitationally dense environment. And he basically made it as a video to kind of like show what it's like to open a can of Coke at the bottom of the ocean. And it's like, I don't actually know if that video really is like a real video. They could just be faking that video, but I think it's possible it could have actually been to the bottom of the ocean. Well, I'm thinking, what if like every astronaut who goes to the bottom of who goes into space actually goes into like the bottom of the ocean? Now, people might think that's far-fetched, or it's like they may say, why do they tell their family? Well, the thing is, here's a way they could reasonably cover this up. A non-disclosure agreement. Basically, a non-disclosure agreement is like when you're working on a project or something that hasn't been released, or like you're working on a very like sensitive government project or a tech company project or something like that. You're not allowed to tell anybody. You have to sign an agreement, otherwise it won't let you work for this. This doesn't just happen for like government projects, military projects. I had this friend who worked on these designs for the Minecraft movie with Jack Black, you know, like the one that talks about the lava chicken and all. And she like made this like design for like a pottery vase, and she made that design, right? And even though like I asked her what they looked like, I asked her to show me, she told me she couldn't tell me because she signed an NDA. Well, I think she signed an NDA. I don't remember actually. But the thing is, it's like if she could sign an NDA for something that's not very important in the grand scheme of things, why wouldn't these astronauts sign NDAs for things that are way more important? Because it's like, this is a government project. NASA was literally founded by someone in Hitler's Germany, like Nazi Germany, and it was founded by like a bunch of occultists and the blades of Illuminati. There's always occult symbols in NASA, so it's like, why would they not make you sign an NDA? And most NDAs are basically like you can't tell anybody what it's like, but how do we know that NASA doesn't just get these astronauts to like lie or something to their families? NASA could just say right to their families, hey man, if you like don't lie to your families about what this is, we're gonna kill you or sacrifice you to Illuminati or something. Like the point is, right, I think that NASA could very reasonably cover up what the astronauts are doing even on a personal level. Think about it, even if the astronauts told their families, like, who are the families really going to tell? They're probably going to keep that stuff secret. So yeah, I think it's actually very possible that NASA actually explores underneath the ocean. And if I do more, if I come to make another video on this, I'm definitely want to research this aspect because I really genuinely believe NASA could be at the bottom of the ocean. Another idea I want to quickly mention is this friend I had says that NASA could just be a money laundering fund. I think that's a good idea because if you think about it, right, the government like wants to make top secret military projects. Well, if you want to make like military projects and stuff for like to do like for ulterior motives to do like things that are not good and all that, then well you don't want like the money like the money to publicly be around. Like if a mafia organization wants to make money to buy drugs or something to sell, then they wouldn't like want that to show up in the bank transactions. So they would do some money laundering. Well, that's what the U.S. government could be doing. Next possible reason is that NASA is exploring like another part of the Earth. This is something that I saw from this is an idea I got from his Instagram account called like Nomosol. Now Nomosol is this like a person on Instagram who I follow who posts all sorts of like new age, alternative history kind of content. And while some people may scoff at a new age, like the fact that some of what she says sounds new age, I want to say you should give her a chance. I will either link her in the video when I'm editing, or I'll just post like a screenshot of her Instagram at the end. But she has this really good account, and this really interesting idea she came up with was that she said that like basically that the planet Mars was like a real planet, but it was like just another part of the flat Earth. Basically, there's this idea in the flat Earth community that like all the planets we see in sci-fi and stuff, like in Star Wars or Star Trek, and these alien planets we see, they actually are real, but they're just like different parts of the flat Earth. Basically, the idea is that Antarctica is a giant ice wall that encircles us, and there's like all these lands beyond it. And she thinks that Mars is one of those lands. And she thinks that the real reason why astronauts actually exists is to basically fight these people. It's like secretly fight these Martians and stuff in like Mars to go and like make colonies here or something. Basically, they're trying to colonize Mars, but it's like on a flat Earth plane. Now, I know this sounds really far fetched, but I'm thinking, what if like that's actually part of the real reason why NASA actually exists? To like either go to another part of the Earth, like let's say underground on the Earth, or to like fight some kind of force to fight someone that we don't really know about that they're kind of covering up. I'm not really gonna make any grand speculations or anything. I don't really buy into this alternative history kind of stuff like other people do. Like I'm not gonna make up some random nonsense, but I do think it's possible that maybe like NASA and the other space agencies, they're trying to either conduct some secret military operations like underground, like for Agatha, if anyone's heard of that. Like that's kind of one like you know, alternative history idea that I actually genuinely believe could be true. Like, I think that Agartha could actually be real. I kind of think that might be where the reptilians come from and stuff. The reptilians that David Icke talks about. Like, I kind of think that could be real. So maybe they're going underground. It's like apparently Hitler went underground to Agartha, learned how to make UFOs or something. And, or they could just be in space or like on another part of the flat Earth if the Earth is flat. Now, the reason why I think this is possible is because NASA is contracted by the military. You have to be like part of the military to become an astronaut, or at least like it's easier to become like a a member of NASA if you're an astronaut. And NASA like is using lots of scientists and like engineers and all that kind of stuff to like kind of go and like do what they're doing. So I kind of think that it's possible that NASA is actually that's the real reason why NASA actually is doing what they're doing. You know, the evidence I have is that Donald Trump made this thing called Space Force, which we basically made some like weird, I don't know, interplanetary defense force. He basically like made something that sounded like it was in a movie, which I mean probably that was predictive programming, right? But he made this thing called Space Force, which is kind of like some I don't know. I think it's some kind of like planetary defense force or something to defend against aliens. Maybe that buys into the fake alien invasion idea. And I'm just kind of thinking, what if there's actually more to that than just like I don't know, a whole bunch of media hype? Like that's kind of something that you want to research actually, because the reason why I think that this could be something real is because this was not the first time that Donald Trump tried to make space for it. This is not the first time the American government tried to make something like this. There's this thing that Ronald Reagan, the president of the United States, he was an actor who became the president of the United States, so Kanye West isn't the first one. Basically made this thing called Star Wars, which is basically like a satellite kind of orbital bombardment project, I think. And yes, it's got the same name as Star Wars. And that's very similar to Space Force because it's kind of like the same idea basically. It's like you have these basically these crazy sounding planetary warfare government projects. So I kind of think that could be one of the things that NASA's trying to do. Now, I was talking about Namaso and talking about her channel and how she helped become the idea that like NASA is secretly fighting some kind of war on another planet or making secret military operations. Well, this is her like page. Her name's Namoso. I think she named it after some kind of African spiritual concept, and she's like this truther and stuff that like posts truth content. She posts really good content. Like she knows like a lot of stuff. She knows a lot of conspiracy stuff, and like I know quite a bit of conspiracy stuff too. But even she surprises me. So yeah, I think you should check her out. I don't know which post she has done this on. She's made a lot of posts. She's made, in fact, 1,924 posts on this Instagram account. So I'm not sure which one it is, but pretty much she made an Instagram account where she talked about how the U.S. military went beyond like the ice wall of like the flat Earth and stuff, and they went to this other part of the flat Earth called Mars, and they're fighting against these Martians. Now, I don't personally believe in the flat Earth. I personally think the Earth is round, or could be round. But I wouldn't be surprised if NASA was doing secret military operations under the Earth, under the sea, something like that. I do think there's a place that these astronauts go to. Uh, something else I think is that whatever's going on in the Avatar movies, maybe NASA's actually doing that. Maybe it's talking about what NASA's up to there. Like, maybe it's talking about that. Like, I saw the Avatar movie recently, and it kind of seems like it might be talking about something real. People say it's about indigenous culture, decolonial culture, African culture, Native American culture, all that kind of nonsense, but I don't really think it's about that. I personally think it's more based off like Hindu philosophy and stuff. Like Hinduism talks about space and all that, so I think that's personally what it's talking about. And I think this is one of the posts that she's talking about with Mars and stuff. As you see, there's some pyramids and heads on there. Apparently, this might be connected to Mormonism or something. There's a planet called Kolob in Mormonism, and there's like this whole post here. I'll just leave it here so you guys can read it. Yeah, I don't think this is the one that I was thinking of, but she does have quite a few interesting posts. She's very open minded, and we've actually communicated a little bit online here and there. And this is actually the one. This is the one that she's talking about. I don't think this is the first one, but I think this is one of the ones she was talking about. As you see, there's these maps of the lands beyond the flat Earth, like Mars, Anunnaki, Maya Motion, Venus, Draco, etc., etc. I don't personally believe in these maps, but they could be true. And I'll just leave that here for you guys to read. Yeah, hopefully that's enough time for you guys to read. If not, then you guys can just pause the video and stuff. So yeah, pretty much this chick, this lady, she's an American lady. She posts lots of conspiracy stuff, and yeah, I totally think you guys should like check her out. Like, it's called Robin Landry. That's like her real name. That like she's not really like she doesn't really post many truth content on here. Like, this is kind of a personal account, but this is an account that she does have. So yeah, she also has a YouTube channel, which I will show right now. It's called Robin Landry. She's got 22 videos, and she's got like all these really interesting videos. Like she's posted some stuff. Um, she's posted some things about like Atlantis. Like I think one of the most interesting videos she's posted, the two most interesting ones, he walked the Americas and tattoos. Like he walked the Americas. That's about how Jesus Christ apparently walked across all of America and stuff, and how he preached to the Native Americans. There's ideas that like Israel was in America, so maybe this is talking about what he was up to there and stuff. And this is about tattoos. Now, pretty much what it's talking about is how the Atlanteans, this pre-flood civilization called Atlantis, would like tattoo people and stuff, and they do it so like they can make like so they can pretty much extract leather from their skins, and that just made me think. That's probably the reason why tattoos are taught against in the Bible, because it's like in Atlantis, I guess during the pre-flood civilizations, tattoos were used for like nefarious purposes to like hurt human beings and stuff. So that might be why. So yeah, if you're watching this, Robin slash Nomu Soul, I just want to say I think that you got a really cool channel and really cool like Instagram, and I think you should like post like way more like on YouTube. Like, you know, obviously you got your priorities, you got your life, but I think that'd be kind of cool. Also, I gotta say, you look like really young for your age. So whatever you're doing to like look so healthy and look so young, keep it up.